Don Clark with FileMakerProGurus.com here at FM Database Consulting. This is my first interview at DevCon 2015. I'm with Michael Rochard of MichaelRochard.com, and the tagline is Everything FileMaker. I messed that up in an earlier take in case you don't ever see that one. So today, let's just talk about what you do in the FileMaker community, how long you've been working with FileMaker, and that type of thing.
Okay. Well, I've been a FileMaker developer, full-time FileMaker developer since 1987, which is, you know, going back to the very early days.
By 2 years.
Oh, well, I know. I've got more experience than you, Don. And, you know, I kind of drifted into it. It was a kind of a funny story because I had been developing a solution for a friend of mine who ran a sports business, and they wanted an order processing system. And I'd started building it in Omnis 3. I don't know whether you remember that.
I worked in Omnis 3 and 5.
Okay, so, and well, if you remember it, you also know what a nightmare it was.
It was terrible, yeah.
It was just terrible, and I worked on this thing for about 6 months, and then I was just tearing my hair out and thinking I'm just going to give it up and let somebody else do it. And then somebody introduced me to FileMaker, and I think it was FileMaker 2 at the time. Mm-hmm. And I just took it to like a duck to water, and anyway, I built this system for him, you know, in just a few days, from basically no knowledge at all to having a completed system. And I fell in love with FileMaker. It was just, I just felt in tune with it. I don't know why, you know, it's just that instant connection.
I felt the same way when I did my first database with it, so okay, I understand exactly what you're talking about. And for those who haven't seen Michael really fine videos, go to michaelrochard.com, but he's just finished a series, and I've had him on the FileMaker Pro Gurus website, on Excel versus FileMaker. Very illustrative, very self-explanatory. I mean, you really draw the difference very clearly between the two programs and what they're capable of and not, and how FileMaker is superior for most everything you want to do.
Definitely, and thank you for that.
Yeah.
You know, it's been you know, for years I've been preaching the fact that Excel is a bad solution for businesses, and I think it's the worst solution that's ever been designed. But the people who have it and who use it, you can't convince them of that. You can't. They just don't want to hear it because they're used to, you know, they're used to Excel, and yeah, it's clunky and it's horrible and drives them nuts, but they don't know anything else.
Well, they've got a lot of time invested in learning that very difficult to learn program.
Right.
I mean, when you get past the first level, it's tough. But you got a new series coming out. It's going to be about Access versus FileMaker. That's going to be a great series because that one's the one that really needs to be illustrated. Access, I've developed some stuff in it. I've supported applications in Access, and it's nowhere near as easy or as rapid a development platform or as powerful a program, really, in most ways, as FileMaker.
And you really have to be an expert programmer to work in Access. You know,
and you can't do it on a Mac.
No. Well, that's the other thing. It's not cross-platform, so you know, it makes it a huge difference.
I don't think you can even do it on an Android, can you? You can't run Access on an Android machine. I wouldn't know that either, but that'd be something interesting to find out.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, go right ahead and tell me some more about your future plans here.
Well, I like to think of myself as well as a developer as being an educator, and I like to try and you know, share ideas and concepts with people, distill something and come up with something that's not necessarily new or terribly imaginative or original, but just something that, now that's really a cool technique and you can use it. If I can explain it in a way that you can follow it instead of just putting you to sleep, which I see all the time, I want to make it interesting so that you can go, oh yeah, I can do that. Because that'll start you, or whoever it is, start to think for themselves and go, well, wait a minute, if I can do it for that, I can do it for this. And now you start to develop your own toolkit effectively.
Yes.
So, you know, taking an idea and running with it is what I often do. But I always also try and always keep things distill things to the simplest level, so that anybody can A, use it, B, learn it, and C, debug it. If they have to take over something that somebody's done, and go, oh, I see exactly what that is. It's not. It's not 100 different variables I've got to learn how to reset and all of that stuff.
Making something complex simple is a gift.
Yeah.
And it's something you can share with a lot of people, and I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah.
for everybody watching out there, I post every video I think he comes up with, and onto my website, and hopefully get you some good juice from Google and a little bit more shares that way. What is your favorite tool that plugs in or you use with FileMaker? Do you have one, like, I don't know, Base Elements, for example?
You know, I use Base Elements. I don't use it very often.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should use it more than I do. It's just running and finding the time to use it. I've looked at what's the tool they've just done a new version of. You promoted it the other day.
To Empower.
To Empower, yeah.
From Draco Visions, yeah.
I've started
I
playing
use that all the time.
Yeah, I've started playing with that, and I probably will get a license for that and start using
I've
it.
had a license for about 3 years on it, and I'll tell you, when you need to find every instance of I'll send email, and you've got it in 40 different scripts, and you don't remember which scripts they are, it just finds them and opens them up right for you.
Yeah.
It's just really amazing.
Yeah, so I'm looking
and
for
now
it.
you can search the relationship graph.
Yeah, so
That's another great thing.
That's definitely on my list of things to buy.
I've opened up some relationship graphs that made me shudder and say, okay, how am I supposed to
I have some relationships like that.
There goes that too. And if you could search that now and find a particular instance of a table or a table occurrence, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, so that's good. I try not to use too many plugins when I'm doing development, because I just find that it adds a level of complexity for the client to have to remember to install all of them and get them all registered. So I try and do everything as far as I can natively.
Yeah. There's one question I wanted to ask though, that you're doing a lot of this stuff in FileMaker. You also do other things as well, you said.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you do?
Well, I actually do a lot of business consulting, where I actually go into a company and help them figure out what it is they're not doing properly.
You did a series of videos that were with, what was that platform that you used? It was the animated ones.
Oh, the FileMaker in Business. Yeah, I used Powtoon for that.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was a slightly different thing, because I've had so many things happen to me in the 28 years that I've been doing FileMaker, and I've just, they've just been like, oh my God, I can't believe the client said that or did that. And I had one particular situation where this client, I have to say, is an idiot, and they keep doing things that are against their best interest, and they know they're doing it, and they just keep on doing it, and they squander tens of thousands of dollars every time they do it. And I was so frustrated with trying to get them to just stop being stupid that I decided to write this scenario, this story, but as a sort of as a dialogue. And I didn't think of doing anything more than that, just putting it down like as a comedy routine. And I sent it to just the script to the friend of mine at the company who was trying to get this company to see sense. And he called me back and he said, I'm peeing myself laughing. So I thought, well, okay, well that's good. And I went on, I don't know whether you know Fiverr.com, where you can, well, I found on a whim, I went and found a voiceover guy on FileMaker who could do accents. And so I sent in the script and I said, can you do this using the voices of John Cleese, Billy Connolly, and Jack Nicholson? And he went, yeah, absolutely, I'd love to do that. So he recorded it and listened to the audio, and it was just flat out funny. And so I thought, well, I'll just animate that. I've got this software called Powtoon that I've learned how to use, and I can do a simple animation, and I'll put it up on the web. And I did, and it got a lot of hits. And then I just started writing these, and I ended up with 14 or 15 of these scripts that I had him record, and I animated them all. So it was probably a one-year project. And the reason for it is that, yeah, they're funny, but they're also the sort of thing that consultants can go to a client who's stuck in a certain mindset and say, why don't you watch this? Take 3 minutes to watch this. You might find it interesting, in the hope that A, they'll get a laugh out of it, but B, they'll also start to recognize themselves and what they're thinking in that video, because you can make the point with humor much better than you can by just beating him over the head with a stick. So that's how the cartoon series came out.
Did they work for you?
I You know, I don't know. I've had a lot of people who've written to me and told me they really enjoyed them and have given them some real belly laughs, and that yeah, I've got clients who exactly like that, and you know, so I don't look at it as necessarily having to get a return on something, Don. You know, it's like the videos. I don't make any money out of them.
Right.
I just do them, and you know, yeah, they have I mean, the animated series. By the time I put into the cost of the voiceovers was probably close to $3,000 to have those made, and then I spent 50 to 100 hours animating them, so which I didn't get paid for.
Right.
So it was a kind of an expensive experiment, but it's, you know, as long as somebody gets something out of them, that
raises your authority level.
I think it maybe does. Yeah. You know, and you know, I also think that people take themselves way too seriously a lot of the time, and I try not to do that. You know, I'm open to people poking fun at me, and I'll poke it at myself as well.
We all have problems.
Yeah.
We're all none of us perfect. Isn't that the truth? Well, did you have anything you wanted to add?
You know, I think there's a couple of things going back to Excel and FileMaker. We all know how easy it is to convert an Excel spreadsheet to a FileMaker database.
Certainly.
It's incredibly easy.
Yes.
And yes, you've got to do some normalization and you know, structure the data properly. But the problem is that companies that have Excel don't understand why it is they need to look at an alternative. So I'm hopefully that I can give them the reasons why they should be reconsidering it with the series. And the same thing with Access. And
that one's going to be a good series.
Yeah. The other thing that's, you know, that I don't think that we developers really understand ourselves is that the impact that what we do, if we do a good job, has on the business that we're working for.
I'll tell you a quick story. I work with a animal protection group in Albuquerque, a nonprofit, and I went up to Santa Fe for their grand opening of a new facility that had been donated to them. I met the chairman of the board, a nice woman, and she heard my name. She says, "Oh, you do FileMaker development for us. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you." We're getting all the data out we never could get out before. It's giving us the information we need to be able to increase our donations, to be able to stay in contact with our people, our donors, who we love, and to do more great work in the community. That kind of thing is pretty nice feedback for a developer.
It is, and it gives you a warm and fuzzy. But it goes beyond that. I have a client in California, and I built them a system in FileMaker 11, which I've just converted over to 14. And they manufacture conveyors. And before the system went online, they used to build their quotes with a combination of word processing and Excel spreadsheets, copy and pasting and typing and all of that stuff. And it would take anywhere up to an hour, sometimes more, to put together a complicated quote that they could send out. And they had 2.5 people working full-time, 5 days a week, preparing quotes. They had one person who was converting the quotes to the orders as they came in. So they got 3.5 people working full-time. So I built them this system where they simply select a category and they click, 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 and they press a button and it sends out this perfectly formatted quote document, which has to look different for every single different type of quote they're doing. It's all done by virtual list.
Right.
So the quote ends up in the customer's email box before they've even hung up the phone.
Nice.
Now they went from 3.5 people to one person who handles all the quotes and all the orders. They've saved 2.5 full-time salaries a year.
Okay.
Now, they didn't get rid of the 2.5 people. They just got them doing other stuff they never had time to do before, which was actually useful for the company, productive.
Yes, productive.
So they've productive, exactly, administration work. So they've got a massive saving in labor. They've got people who've got time now to do other stuff that also benefits the company. But the other thing that we didn't expect was that the moment that went live, in addition to saving the manpower, their business literally tripled overnight. Because clients were getting this fantastic looking quote before they even hung up the phone and they go, "I can't be bothered to wait for anybody else." But you know, we tend to forget, you know, we do charge a lot of money for our services because we're highly skilled. And But whatever money you and I get paid, or any of us get paid, it's back in circulation in a matter of weeks or months. We've spent it. Now the client has paid that money, but they've got a benefit that's going to go on and on and on and on.
Every time they use it.
Every time they use it, for as long as they're in business. And the other thing that businesses don't understand is that when you put a system in that automates and streamlines a company's business, you in itself, just alone, make that business more valuable, because if somebody wants to buy it, they come in buying a company that's organized and efficient, as opposed to something they've got to come in and go, what are we going to do with this?
Yeah, and think about the difference in price, what they're going to pay for those two types of businesses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Huge, absolutely colossal. So it's a real win-win situation.
We had that conversation with one of our clients just a few days ago. If you want something to be able to sell in 5 years, you need to start doing the systematization of the processes and the whole 9 yards. Right now, and in 5 years, you'll have an asset that's worth 3 or 4 times what you're thinking you're going to sell for.
Exactly. Yeah.
At that time.
Absolutely. And the problem with most businesses, even today, is no matter, despite all the technology that's out there, despite all the advances, businesses spend, on average, more time administering than they do operating. And they need to stop administering and start operating.
Right.
And that's how they're going to become very successful and transformed.
And hopefully they're going to hire people like us to do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
If they're smart, at least. Well, you know, FileMaker's a great rapid application development program. I've had people comment when I read the stuff on the file, the website, I downloaded it, and I could make a simple database, but I can't do the things I want. And I said, well, that's a fair assessment. I said, but if you want to really unlock the potential and get all these things going, you need somebody that knows business and somebody that knows how to apply those things to the database and to the processes when it's built. So you can modify the process as you go along. And make this thing really work for you. And then as you scale up to the next level, you're a guy that grew 3 times, scale up to the next level, we can change these processes so that they scale up with it, and your software will drive that. So that's a very good thing.
One of the biggest negatives about FileMaker, and it's an amazing piece of software, is that it's not easy for somebody to just come in and build something. I mean, yeah, they can create tables and fields and relationships and all of that, but to design something properly and to really be able to, have that database sing requires an enormous amount of time invested in learning it.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I don't think I was any good at FileMaker until I'd spent 5,000 hours working with it.
Yeah, some people say it's 10,000 hours to be an expert in something, but I think FileMaker is easy enough to.
Yeah.
And you probably have spent 5,000 hours more learning new stuff since you first got.
I worked it out the other day that I've spent close to 60,000 hours working with FileMaker.
Okay, I was right by a factor of 12.
Yeah.
So, close. You're right. It's a continuous process, and that's why a lot of people here at DevCon, and that's why people visit your website and they visit my website.
Yeah.
They're always looking for another technique. I'm going to blow my own horn here. I have I know you've seen it. The list example I have that has 100 and I forget what the count is. I add to it 3-4 times a week. Probably 150 or so downloadable FileMaker example files that have some great technique or 2 or 3 in them that you can just grab that code. It's free. It's for all the great developers that are out there in the world, and move ahead and learn faster. The technology that we're sharing through the website and through interviews like this helps people learn faster.
Yeah, absolutely.
And get better.
Absolutely.
And I think there's more than enough business out there for all of us. There's a big wide world of people that don't know anything about FileMaker, and part of it is to get that word from.
The interesting thing, one of the things that I'm working on, and I've been working on it for a long time, and it's getting close to being ready, is another book, and this one's called FileMaker and You, and this is designed for the beginner to intermediate developer, the guy who works in-house, who really doesn't have any resources at hand to be able to do the project he's given. So he's given a project and he goes, oh my God, how am I going to do this?
And use FileMaker to do it.
Use FileMaker to do it. Yeah. So in this book, what I've done is I've taken all of the knowledge that I've gained over the last 28 years and said, okay, this is a shortcut. This will take you right to where you want to get to without spending 5 years figuring it out. and lots of different things, and the philosophies behind designing a database, how you start to think, how you analyze problems and come to a solution, how you define the ERD and all of that stuff. But lots of really usable and reusable examples that somebody who doesn't have that knowledge can go and look at the book and go, oh yeah, that's exactly what I need. I know it, that's exactly what I need. And I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be groundbreaking.
Let me know when it comes out.
I will.
Got the first book already, and if you're looking for it, it's available on Amazon, right?
No, it's actually only on the iTunes store.
iTunes store, that's right.
FileMaker and Me.
Yeah, so I highly recommend that book, and the next one sounds like it's going to be a perfect fit for people that are doing exactly when they're first coming in. And I read stories. Actually, I've inherited a lot of databases like that. Well, I didn't know anything about programming. We bought FileMaker. I have to use that, and this is what I started to build. Then we called you.
Yeah. The one thing that
they want to learn.
Yeah, they do,
but they can't. There's not enough out there with the School of Hard Knocks way you did of learning these things. That where there's really tried and true techniques you can use to move forward quickly.
Yeah.
So.
But also, not only the techniques, but it also will help them get into a mindset where they start to think differently and start to think as a problem solver with FileMaker, because that's also one of the big difficulties. Okay, yeah, there's all these techniques, but you got to be able to work your way to understanding what it is you're trying to achieve, and then figure out the best way to do that. Because there's no one right way to do anything. I mean,
no, if you put the same problem or same set of problems in front of 10 different developers, you'd have 10 different solutions that came up with the answer.
Yeah, and do you know what the funny thing is? All 10 of them would say, that's really interesting, but mine's best.
Of course, we have a vested interest in that. I'm sure somebody could apply metrics to it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody bothers to stop or slow down long enough to do that kind of thing. All that matters is it does what the customer needs and gets the job done. So, well, with that, I think I'm going to have to move on, and this is Don Clark, my closing portion of this. This is our first interview at FileMaker DevCon 2015 with Michael Rochard of michaelrochard.com. We're going to be posting this up on the website. If you're seeing this, you still got a chance to get up here to room 5325, and it's in the West Tower, and get an interview for your own. We're going to be doing this the rest of today, which is Tuesday, and all day tomorrow from 8 to 5 on Wednesday, and all day to Thursday, 8 to 5 as well. Thanks very much, Michael, for coming over.
Well, thank you, Don. Appreciate it.
It was a pleasure meeting you.
It was nice to meet you, too.
So,
great.
There we go.